Hi, it's me, Rabbi Avram Chaim Blumenstiel, the Sofer for the Congregation Torah's Chaim Sefer Torah Project. You can find out more information about this project at www.ctc-torah.org. Again, that's www.ctc-torah.org. Well, in this video, we're going to continue our study of the Hebrew letters, the form of the Hebrew letters as they're written in Ksav Ashiris, in the special script that's used when writing Torah scrolls, mezuzos, tefillin, and other holy texts for ritual use. We're going to start off today looking at the Hebrew letter ALEPH, which is the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And the letter ALEPH, in its written form, looks like this, right here. Now it's interesting because the letter ALEPH, which is being the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, is assigned the numerical value of 1. Now, as we know, each letter in the Hebrew alphabet has a number that occurs along with that letter. So the letter Aleph is 1, the letter Bet is 2, the letter Gimel is 3, and so on and so on. And these numbers instruct us as to certain qualities that the letters have as well. Thus, since the Hebrew letter Aleph has the quality of 1, the Aleph tends to be associated as representing God's oneness, God's unity. It enjoys a certain exalted status amongst all the other letters. The status, too, is hinted at in the fact that the Hebrew letter Aleph is the only letter that faces to the right, while all other Hebrew letters face away from the Aleph. They do not gaze at the Aleph, they do not look at the Aleph, because of the special status of the Aleph as an expression of God's oneness, as an expression of God's unity. Additionally, the word Aleph is related, the name Aleph is related to the word Aluf, meaning an emperor or a ruler. Now, another way in which the letter Aleph hints to God's unity is not only is its basic gematria, its basic numerological value 1, it could also be understood as having a numerological value of 26. How is that? Well, we mentioned that each letter has a composite form and a fundamental form. The composite form of the letter Aleph is that of a Vav, here in the middle, and 2 Yuds, here and here. Now, the numerical value of Yud is 10, so 2 Yuds is 20, and Vav is 6, meaning that the composite value of the letter Aleph is 26. 26 is also the number, the numerical total of the true name of God, Yud-K, Vav-K. So thus, the letter Aleph has a basic numerical value of 1, hinting to God's unity, while at the same time having a composite value of 26, hinting to the true name of God, Yud-K, Vav-K. Therefore, the letter Aleph is seen to embody the central credo of Judaism, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. So it embodies the connection of God's unity to the holy name of God. Additionally, many other names of God begin with the letter Aleph. There's the word Kael, Elokah, Elokim, Ekya, Asher Ekya. All of these different names begin with the letter Aleph. So it's indeed one of the most special of the Hebrew letters. So let's talk a little bit about the form of the letter Aleph. Now, the fundamental form of the letter Aleph, the basic form, we see here. The basic form of the letter Aleph is that of a middle line on an alexon, on a diagonal, with a projecting line on top with a head, and a projecting line on the bottom with a head. That's the most basic, fundamental, the archetypal form of the letter Aleph, the Iker Tzura. Now, the Kabbalists explain to us that the letter Aleph has a composite form, which is the pristine expression of the fundamental form. The composite form is that of 2 Yuds, a Yud here and a Yud here, with a Vav in the middle. And the Vav is seen as laying with the head down toward the bottom. So thus there's a little curve here at the end. Now indeed, many of the writers and the commentaries on the forms of the Hebrew letters tell us that ideally the bottom part of the Aleph should be tilted upward to represent the head of the Vav. Now you'll notice that with most of the letters Aleph that we see, indeed with this letter, you don't actually have a projection here coming up like this that would thoroughly represent the dividing vav in the middle. Instead, you may just have a little point here at the tip of the aleph. The reason for that is that the letter aleph is usually the last letter that a sofer learns how to write. The reason why is it's an exceptionally difficult letter to write because you're dealing in a very small space, and it's very easy to bang either this top yud into the body or the bottom one into the body. Or it's very easy to accidentally touch, for example, to touch the upper yud to the vav and just end up with a big mess of ink when it all runs together. So soferim are very, very careful about manipulating the kulmas in such a small area when writing an aleph. So many of them don't actually make a full tilt up here at the bottom. Instead, they may just make a little point or a very tiny curve, like I did here, just to represent the head of the vav. Either way, even without that curve, since the fundamental form of the letter is satisfied, it still remains a kosher aleph. So let's now talk a little bit about the yuds that we find on top and on the bottom. Now, to what degree do these yuds actually have to resemble yuds? Well, the fundamental form of the letter yud is that it has a point on top to the left and a tail on the bottom to the right. In addition, according to many, it should have a little prickle, a little point right here on this end. You can't see it so much in the webcam, but there's a very tiny point here on this side on the bottom, on the left side on the bottom. Now, this little prickle, the little point here on the left side, is not intrinsic to the form of the yud that's used when writing the aleph. What we're told is that the yud on top of the aleph must still have the top point on the left and the lower tail on the right that joins the body. Here you have the point and the tail, point and tail. It doesn't necessarily need the little point here on the bottom left-hand side. Okay? Now the Sefer Aleph Alpha Besa, Oisios de Rebbe Akiva, makes an interesting remark about the yud on this side. It says that the upper yud here to the right should be inclined and tilted so that its face is pointing upwards. The reason why is to show us that this yud is gazing, it's sofa, to the Avinu Shebashamayim, to Kadosh Baruch Hu, to God. It's looking up to God and testifying to the unity of God. That the head of the aleph is inclined upward. That's another remez, another hint to the relationship, the unique relationship between the letter aleph and the expression of God's unity.